Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the Mission Workshop Sanction Backpack. Mission Workshop is known for making some really high quality commuter focused bags. They have some really interesting designs. This one caught my eye because it had more of a traditional kind of rucksack style top loading layout, which I've really been a fan of in the past. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test this over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, the look here is an interesting mix. It's got kind of an old school rucksack style vibe, but with some touches that make it feel a little bit more futuristic. And so this is something that I think is gonna work well in a lot of different environments. Definitely great for just exploring a city, commuting, and is also something I would be comfortable taking into the office or using for traveling. As far as the materials, the bag feels very solidly built. This exterior fabric is X-Pack, which is gonna offer a nice amount of durability and plenty of weather resistance. It really feels like everything is gonna be protected from the elements on the inside of the bag. And then beyond that, you just have some really high quality components throughout the rest of the bag with the straps, the buckles, as well as some YKK zippers on some of the compartments. Continuing along the outside of the bag, I was a little bit sad to see that there's no external water bottle pocket, so it's a little bit more minimal. And then you have a carrying handle at the top that's gonna offer a nice amount of space to make it easy to grab the bag or potentially hang it. It's not the thickest or most padded material, but it'll get the job done. And then on the bottom, the bag is fairly slanted, so this isn't something that will stand up super consistently on its own. And on the front, you also have the Mission Workshop branding, which, is on the front, but it's fairly minimal. It's down near the bottom, so I think that it blends into the bag fairly well. Moving into the capacity, this comes in at about 20 liters, which to me is a really great daily bag size. With the simpler layout that this has, it also feels like a pretty generous 20 liters. I was able to hold all the items that I normally like to carry with me, and it still felt like I had some leftover space. And I like that even when the bag is a little bit more packed out, it still maintains a pretty slim profile, which is gonna make it great for navigating crowded areas, jumping onto public transit, commuting, and also carrying it onto a variety of domestic and international airlines. Continuing with the harness system, so far the bag has been really comfortable to wear. I like how the straps have been implemented here. They have a nice amount of padding that feels cushioned. On the inside, you have a breathable mesh to help prevent moisture from building up. The straps also have a good width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out and you're wearing it for a longer period of time. On the straps, you also have a sternum strap, and you can slide this up or down in this section of the bag to place it where it's gonna be most comfortable. You can't really move it up further, and it's not secured with some of the attachment points that you'll see on some other bags, so it can slide down to the bottom sometimes. But it gets the job done. This doesn't seem to be removable, so that's another thing to consider. And then you have these rails, which are meant to pair with Mission Workshop's ecosystem of modular accessories, so you can slide either some pouches on here for additional organization. You have these straps here to help secure them. I don't really have any of those accessories to test with, but it seems like people really like this ecosystem. It does feel like a pretty secure system, once you get the hang of it. And then the back panel has also felt pretty comfortable. You have a nice amount of padding here that's well distributed. Same breathable mesh that we saw on the straps. And then at the bottom, you have a nice amount of support. And you also have a slot here that you can use to attach a waist belt that's sold separately from the bag. For me, with this size of bag, it's not something that I would really use, but great to have that option if you want to have it. And so, yeah, this has felt pretty comfortable. Might have been nice to see a luggage pass through here. And then you also have the Mission Workshop logo here on the side. Jumping into the organizational options, on the front you have a quick access pocket that has a lid that's secured with Velcro. You have a secure hold here, and I like that even though this is a top loading compartment, the edges come out enough to make me feel like this is gonna be protected if I do get caught in some rain. That's something that you always wanna be on the lookout for, is that the sides aren't poking out. So well implemented here, this compartment is gonna offer a decent amount of volume for the items that I'm gonna be grabbing most regularly. And so at the moment, I have my sunglasses in there with their case, and I have my USB-C hub along with its cables to charge my laptop and tablet while I'm on the go. Beyond that, no additional organization here, just a simple but effective pocket. And then the rest of the organization you can find underneath this flap, which is secured with these archive buckles. I think this is a really interesting system. And so the way that this works is that these straps are elastic, and then you can pull these up, and they have this system which slides into these attachment points. And so, you know, I think that this is pretty effective. It's very easy to get this on and off. It feels like a secure hold. These buckles feel very high quality. So overall, I've really enjoyed this system. It feels less cumbersome than some other kind of top loaders that I've used. These are pretty quick release, and then it's easy to hook them on and off. You also have the ability to adjust the straps. So if you're carrying a little bit more, you can give yourself that flexibility, maybe store a jacket under the lid, which is what I always like about this style of bag. And then you still have a Velcro closure here. So you can open this up. You have the two Velcro sides, and you can use that to help secure the lid at various positions. So you can leave it a little bit higher. You can tighten it down a little more depending on what you're carrying. So there's some adjustability. And then you have a couple of zippered pockets behind there. Great protection on these. You have the zipper garages, aqua guard, so anything that's in these compartments do feel like it's going to be protected from the elements. And so first up, you have a compartment that's fairly tall. It goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag, and so great for something a little taller and flatter like a tablet. That's what I have here. My iPad mini slides in there comfortably, but maybe good for a notebook or a flatter pouch. And then above that, you have another well-protected pocket. This one's smaller and is going to be a great spot for, you know, electronics. Here I have my AirPods as well as a charging cable for my phone. So those go in there, and it goes in about the height of my fingers. And behind that one, you have another slip pocket. This one is taller as well. And so I think this is going to be a good spot to maybe store a larger tablet that didn't fit into this front zippered pocket, or, you know, a taller notebook, magazines, documentation. This is the type of pockets that, you know, with this one and these back here, they start to share volume, and so it can get a little tight. You have to pick and choose sometimes which one you want to use. And so I did end up using this one on the back, but I still like the option to have it, as, you know, because of its height, there's a lot of different things that you could potentially toss in there. And then moving into the main compartment, this is a top loading bag. And so you have, you know, just a lot of space towards the bottom, no way to access it, which, you know, is going to help with the weather resistance of the bag and just the overall durability. There's something about this style of bag which I still really like in its simplicity. There's just less failure points, and so even though it's not always easy to get to the items on the bottom, with this layout you can hold a ton of stuff, and it just feels like the bag is going to hold up. And on the inside, you do have a little bit of a lighter lining towards the bottom. It can help with the visibility. You have, again, the Mission Workshop logos here, made in the USA tag. And so I'll just start diving into the items that I currently have. My Beats Studio headphones at the top, and then I have a bunch of pouches. Because the layout is so simple, it works quite well with a modular setup. So I'll pack an admin pouch. I have a Bellroad Tech case, Civic Access pouch half liter. I also have Civic Access pouch 1 liter. And you can see there towards the bottom how cavernous this is. I have my Lockbee Tech pouch, and then I have the Civic Access pouch 2 liters. And so all of those items fit in there comfortably. This is probably a little more than I would normally have with me, but just to kind of showcase how much the bag can actually hold. And so pretty deep, no additional pocketing. With this layout, you can use this for minimal travel. This is definitely something I could see myself tossing a packing cube into, along with an extra pair of shoes, a toiletry bag, maybe some additional gear, and using this for a longer weekend trip pretty comfortably. And then the last thing I'll mention in this main compartment is that you do have a zippered pocket on the back that's going to be a good spot for a laptop. This isn't accessible from the outside, so you do have to open this flap up to reach it, which can be helpful as far as protection from the elements, but not always super quick access if you have everything buckled down. But still, great that you have a separate kind of pocket in this compartment to be able to get to it. And this is properly pulled up off the bottom of the ground. You have a false bottom here, and there's also a frame sheet included with the bag to help distribute the weight, which helps with the false bottom, so you can drop your laptop in. You don't have to worry about it making contact with the ground. And this is not the most padded sleeve here. I would have liked to have seen something maybe a little thicker, but you are gonna have plenty of space. Here I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro, and you can see it's kind of getting swallowed by the compartment. Would definitely be able to handle a 15 or 16-inch laptop comfortably. And pulling my device out, Now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside. This does come up a decent amount, and so with the space that's provided here and this volume, it could also potentially pair well with the laptop case. I believe that Mission Workshop might have some of those accessories, and if not, you know, a third party could offer something to give you that extra protection for your laptop. But with the amount of space that's offered here, at least you can fit a variety of devices, and I really like that it's actually pulled up off the bottom of the ground. So a pretty simple layout overall, which I typically like because it's fairly flexible and it matches up well with my modular style of packing. It also feels like I can get a nice amount of space for the overall footprint of the bag. And so if you're looking for a simple and reliable top loader bag that's gonna offer a really solid build quality and plenty of weather resistance, then this is gonna be a really interesting option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Sanction backpack over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site. It's going to come in at around $345 for the X-Pack version that I featured in this video. So definitely an investment. You are getting something that is very high quality built, and it is built in the USA, which typically comes with a bit of a premium. And so you do get a lot of value for the investment, but there's going to be some other great bags in this price range that may be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, one of the first bags this made me think of is the Modern Dayfarer backpack. That one has a really sleek modern style, also a top loading bag. It's got the adjustable strap on the front with the single buckle. You also have the ability to open that one flat for easier packing. It's got a dedicated shoe compartment, dedicated laptop compartment, luggage pass-through, a pretty comfortable harness system, quick access pocket. So checking off a lot of the boxes for what I would be looking for out of an all-purpose daily bag. And so if you're looking for something that's gonna work well in a professional setting, I think that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. The next bag this made me think of is the Dispatch Day Pack, which has a great build quality, a top loading layout, so it's easy to just put a lot of stuff into the main compartment, good quick access pockets, dual external water bottle pockets, comfortable harness system, luggage pass-through, dedicated laptop compartment. And so if you're looking for a versatile kind of all-purpose bag, that's gonna be an excellent option to consider. And then the last option that I'll mention here, if you're looking for something with more of a heritage vibe, is the Nutsack Rucksack. That is a top loading bag. It's got the single strap on the front, and it's gonna have a padded laptop sleeve in the main area, external pockets that you can use to hold a water bottle, pretty comfortable harness system. It's got a fairly minimal layout, but it just has a very classic appearance. It's gonna look good in a lot of different environments, and it's very solidly built. So if you're looking for something with that classic style that's also made in the USA, then that's gonna be a fantastic option to keep in mind. With that being said, the Mission Workshop Sanction Pack holds up pretty well against all those options, and if you have a little bit of a higher budget and you're looking for a well-made bag that's gonna offer a minimal layout that's gonna be commuter focused and that's also built in the USA, then this is gonna be a really cool option to take a look at. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Sanction backpack and how it compares to some of the other popular EDC bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.